this is the game of the early slate, maybe one of the great games of the day. Cleveland and Pittsburgh, an old rivalry, a rivalry that the Steelers typically get the better of. The Steelers 3-point favorites at home. That means on a neutral site it would be a push. And I don't know that I would call it a push because I think right now the Browns may be the better team. We just can't look past the uniforms. And you know, if you and really that's the key here. If you take all the players on the Browns and put them in black and gold, and you take all the Steelers players and put them in Browns uniforms, I think we would believe that the Steelers would win by a touchdown. I think the Steelers right now are somewhat lesser than the Browns from a talent standpoint. I'm going to let you lead off, though. And I already have my pick. I'm not going to change it.
I know, I'm
not
worried
going to change
about
it based on what you do. But you go ahead and lead off.
I mean, it is an interesting matchup. There is a lot of talent on the football field, like you're talking about. I do think this Steelers defense is really freaking good. Now, they get burned, and this is something I've been talking about on my podcast. They over-blitz, which I don't understand. What's the point of having this great defensive line if you're blitzing? I don't get it. Still don't understand. I mean, the game last week, when they blitzed, Carson Wentz torched them. When they played coverage, he couldn't find anybody open. You know, what's the point of having Stephon Tuitt and Cameron Hayward and T.J. Watt and Bud Dupree if you're not just going to let them work? So I'd like to see that more out of Pittsburgh. I do think that I just can't imagine Cleveland having a ton of success on Pittsburgh's run game. And these are the type of games where, I know Pittsburgh let up the big touchdown run last week. They weren't worried about the run game as much as Philadelphia. I think Pittsburgh's one of those teams where they go, oh, wait, they can run the ball a little bit, and they kind of button it all up. And I don't imagine Cleveland being able to run the ball consistently well. And then I still don't think the pass game is there to carry them yet. I don't. It's getting better. I think Stefanski's done a phenomenal job of managing them and everything like that. But that's what I worry about for Cleveland on the offensive side of the ball. On the other side of the ball, I worry about Pittsburgh's offense too. I do. Because they can't run the ball. Cleveland is a team that can rush the passer and just send 4 and drop 7 and make things tough on them that way. But I think ultimately where I'm going to sway with Pittsburgh is I don't know if I trust Cleveland's secondary quite yet. And I think Pittsburgh is good enough at pass protecting, and maybe the emergence of Claypool here will finally give them the confidence to kind of unleash him a little bit. And I'm going to go with Pittsburgh to win the football game, 28-21. I'm not going to make it a best bet or anything like that. I do think it's kind of a coin toss game, but I think in the matchup, I like Steelers' advantage a little bit.
I really hate that feeling of I should have seen it coming, and I didn't have the guts to call my shot.
Yeah.
And look, here my concern with the Browns is this. Like you said, are they going to be able to run against Pittsburgh? The other thing is Baker Mayfield going to be able to buy enough time? You know, when you watch him play, if the offensive line is getting its job done, he can do the rollouts. He can move around.
That's
he can
right.
slide the pocket. He can make things happen. But if they're not able to buy him time, he doesn't have the athleticism to get away from the guys who are coming after him.
He doesn't.
And hey, look, maybe they'll blitz, and maybe he's going to have to find guys quickly, and maybe they're going to rely on Odell Beckham Jr., and maybe the Steelers are going to target him for some rough contact to get him thinking twice about trying to run the ball through them the way he ran the ball through the Cowboys on that play where everyone in a silver helmet with a blue star was loafing.
Yeah.
But to me, this is one of those where I'm going to rely on the body of work that I've seen so far this year.
Okay.
I've yet to see the Steelers look really, really good.
I get it.
They've played a lot of teams that are bad, below 500 teams, and they haven't put them away. They haven't had the killer instinct. Look at what they did letting the Eagles back into the game.
Sure.
I just don't think this now they may get there, and this may be the game where it breaks open. This may be the one where we say, wow, okay, just like with the Titans last week. The Titans kind of screwed around with 3 lesser teams before they dropped the hammer on the Bills. I just think this is one where that history of the Browns being so bad is going to be hard for the Steelers to overcome until they lose to the Browns once. Next time around, the Steelers may view the Browns differently.
Right.
But I just think that for me, that's the difference. You look across the field at those orange helmets. You see a team that has been pathetic. How do you get yourself properly motivated to do everything you have to do to dot every I, cross every T, study all the film? You don't view them as a threat until they punch you in the mouth. And I think they're not going to necessarily knock the Steelers out, but they're going to score one more point, 21-20. I like the Browns to win the game, which means I like them getting the 3 points. And this is one where, you know what, if the Steelers win, I'll say fine. But I'm going to feel worse.
Yeah, I know.
This way or the other way. If I'd picked the Steelers and the Browns had won, I'd feel a lot worse.
Yeah, you're going to go, man, my gut, my spaghetti, my meatballs was telling me Cleveland, and I didn't do it, and I didn't listen, and I always listen to spaghetti and meatballs because I'm Mike Florio. So, yeah, I get it. But I think, and I'm joking, but of course, I hear you. Your points are very real. They really are. I don't doubt that at all. I mean, I worry about that, certainly. And the Steelers do have a real legitimate, put a team away problem because they can't run the ball to run the clock out. They're horrible at running. And then their defense, it goes back to something I said early on. They get a lead, and they go for, the jugular too much to where I want to go, we don't have to, pulverize them into the ground. We just have to stop them from scoring again. We don't have to, embarrass them and get 10 defensive touchdowns. How about just not let them score right here and the game will be over? I hope they realize that. The numbers have to start to show them that when they blitz, they get torched, and when they play coverage, they're really awesome. We'll see if they learn that this week. I'm really excited about this game. It's cool to have a Browns-Steelers game that means something. I know that. It's cool for football.
And even though there's a lot of bad games in the 1 o'clock window, what that means is you can focus on Chicago, Carolina, and Pittsburgh hosting the Browns, and the rest of them, who the hell cares what happens? Although, from time to time, you check out what's happening. But when that many are unfolding at once and two stand out, those are the two I'll be focused on.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.